Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is David Novak. In honor of BookTube events Nonfiction November and World War November, about both of which I will put something in the description box below, I would like to read you something about international fraud. This is from the book by E.D. Morel, 10 Years of Secret Diplomacy. Chapter 8, Summary of the Events of 1900 to 1904 and Reflections thereon. Now this is a little bit antecedent to the World War. It describes a little bit about how France and Britain forced Germany to bolster its military aspect. A review of the events of 1900 to 1904 must be a review covering three distinct factors, viz., the public and secret diplomatic commitments which 3 out of the 4 powers specially interested in Morocco had undertaken towards one another, the position in which the 4th was left through those commitments, and the obligations entered upon by those 3 powers towards the independent state of Morocco and its ruler. The latter point may be taken first. France had in 1901 and 1902 publicly assured Morocco upon repeated occasions that she had not the least intention of threatening the independence or the integrity of that state. France had formally and publicly declared in an agreement with Great Britain that she had no intention of altering the political status of Morocco. France and Spain had formally and publicly declared their firm attachment to the independence and integrity of Morocco. France and Spain, and by implication Great Britain, were therefore publicly pledged towards Morocco and towards the world at large to maintain the independence and integrity of Morocco. Meanwhile, in point of fact, France, Spain, and Britain had privately entered into contracts with one another whereby the destruction of the independence and integrity of Morocco was decreed, the date of the event to depend upon circumstances. I understand that in the current jargon of diplomacy, that sort of thing is called high politics. The plain man may be permitted to dub it by one word only: dishonesty. And to contend that dishonesty in diplomacy, even as dishonesty in business or in ordinary social life, does not ultimately pay. It certainly has not paid the British people in this particular case. On the contrary, it has involved them in enormous expenditure. If only the citizen of education and intelligence would shake himself free from the superstitions with which custom has invested the functions of the diplomatist. If only he could be brought to understand that the mental powers of those engaged in diplomacy are really no greater than his own, and that he is quite as well able to arrive at sound conclusions if the facts are placed before him, as these highly but narrowly trained persons to whom he blindly confides the negotiation of his affairs with foreign powers. The peace of the world would rest upon a surer foundation than it does today. Because if he did awake to the truth of those simple facts, the citizen of education and intelligence would treat the diplomatists he employs just as he does other public functionaries, not as supermen, but as servants of the state, of which he and they are members. He would not for one moment tolerate that they should, unknown to him and his fellow citizens, commit the nation to which he belongs to secret arrangements with foreign powers calculated under given circumstances to involve him and his fellow citizens in war and lower the national standard of civic morals. He would not sanction one standard of honesty for the magistrate, the civil servant, the naval and military officer, and a totally different one for the diplomatist. The secret diplomacy of 1904 in connection with Morocco makes a revolting picture. That it was in the interests of the nations concerned, common sense and a robust belief in honesty alike reject. I resume the narrative with apologies for the digression. A sentence of doom had, therefore, been secretly pronounced against Morocco. France was to play the role of executioner, Spain that of interested assistant, and Britain that of interested witness. What had each power obtained as the result of the deal? France had removed British opposition to a French absorption of 4/5 of Morocco at the price of a Spanish mortgage over Mediterranean and North Atlantic Morocco. Spain had secured a mortgage over Mediterranean and North Atlantic Morocco. Britain had acquired two things at the price of surrendering her traditional policy of an independent Morocco, viz., relief from an irritating incubus in Egypt and the exclusion of France from Mediterranean and North Atlantic Morocco. But in thus disposing, contrary to their public pledges, in the real or fancied interests of the peoples they represented, of the future of an independent African state, 219,000 square miles in extent, containing 8 million inhabitants and of great natural wealth, the British, French, and Spanish diplomatists had acted without any international sanction and had, moreover, deliberately deceived the world. E.D. Morel, 10 Years of Secret Diplomacy. Thank you for stopping by my channel.